So I am so excited to have Katie on. Katie and I have recently really connected, but I've always known who she is. She's just killed it, always led from the front. And I am so excited for you guys to kind of hear her story. I've never heard like the full thing, I don't think so. I'm excited. I'm learning with you guys as well, and can't wait to kind of pick her brain. Make sure if you guys do have questions, you put them in the comments, so that we can make sure that we are giving you what you guys need to know too, because that's the most important thing, is that you guys are getting fed as well. I'm going to start us off in prayer if that's okay, and then we will get going. Dear Jesus, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us to connect tonight with Katie. We ask that you bless her business and continue to bless her family. I ask that you bless every single person on here and just open their minds to be filled, and listen to the Zoom with expectation that they're going to learn something that can change their business. I ask that you give them open hearts, open minds, open ears, so that when they're listening, they're taking it in with a pure heart, and that they can actually take something back that really will change their business and change the future of their life and their family's lives. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Katie, go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you got started. Like, I really want you to paint a picture for what life was like for you guys beforehand, because I think so it's so easy to think, oh gosh, now here she is, Ambassador Diamond, she has this picture perfect life, but people forget everybody starts at the bottom.
Yeah. So you guys, all right. So I've been in for 4.5 years. So 4.5 years ago, let's go back a little bit further than that. So I met my husband when I was 16, and we met. I got hired on at Five Guys. We've got this great Five Guys love story. And so I started working with him. He was the manager, like whatever. We ended up dating, and then I quit because you can't date the manager. We really hit it off, and we ended up pregnant, right? Like I was 18, I turned 18. I was like, oh my God, happy birthday. Now I pee on a stick and I'm pregnant. And so it just totally wrecked my entire world. I never even intended to have babies. And so I was like, what is this? I was on birth control. I just was like, wow. And it was just something that like was really hard for me to accept and move on with. And so whenever because I honestly, my first plans, I was going to go to school to be a surgeon. Like I just always wanted to be a part of Grey's Anatomy. It was just like a part of my soul. And then I was raised on it. That was like my only TV I ever watched. And so I'm like, I'm going to be a surgeon. And that was like my goal. I was set on it. And so when I got pregnant, it just kind of was like, what am I going to do with my life? I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going, what do I even go to school for? And then I continued through school, and then I was in nursing school. I had my daughter. And so the second she was laid on my chest, I just knew, if you're a mom, you just know like that moment, especially your first baby, that's just like a pivotal moment in everyone's life. So I was like, you know what? I don't even want to work. So, and Zach's sitting there like, what? Like I literally said to him in the hospital, like, I don't know about going to work or anything like that anymore. And he's like, what? Like, he's like, we're not going to talk about that now, but like, yeah, girl, you're going to have to work. And so it was just a really rough time because she was born, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to be home with her. I just want to be home with her. And then we moved out because we lived with my mom until we had her. And then like shortly after we moved out. So at 19, we were homeowners. We were doing the dang thing. And then we really realized at that point, like, holy crap, we are straight up like suffering. Like all of our savings account that we had built up through our teenage years is depleting, and we're now looking at like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to apply for government assistance. Like we can't afford food. I started extreme couponing. I'm picking up shifts, and I'm in nursing school full time. I basically had like 3 seconds to myself every week. And it was just really hard because then Zach started picking up Saturday shifts. And so it's like he's working Monday through Saturday all day long. And then we had Sundays together, but that was my study day because I had class on Monday. And a lot of times I had to have a test on Monday. So we really didn't get any time together. And he was missing out on our baby because he was gone all the time. By the time he got home, it was bedtime. And so it was just a really rough time. And I was like, there was a time, it was right, I joined in April 2015. It was like right before that. We had Christmas, my baby's first Christmas, and it was just like,
that's when I joined, April 2015.
Really?
April 10th.
Oh my gosh, I'm April 2nd.
Yeah.
That's so wild. And so I was like, Christmas happened, and I'm like, okay, well, this is rough. Like thank God you can't remember that. But it was just so hard to think like this is what our life is gonna be like. And I was having a mental breakdown, like one of those just like Britney Spears moments where you're like, I don't know what's going on with my life. We're losing it. And I'm like, I cannot continue to live like this, like waiting for taxes. Like this is just not what I thought my life would be like. I mean, I was 19 years old. I have a baby. I was about to get married, and I'm like, this, like, I don't know why nobody talks about this, but the struggle is real. And so I was looking for something. I went with my mom to the gym as a guest, couldn't afford a gym membership. And I walked in, there was a rap table to the side. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I would love for that to like transform my stomach, but I was really skeptical. And she was like, oh, enter for a free one. You guys, she messaged me one time and never followed up with me. I didn't win the free wrap from her. So I was like, whatever. I just never reached out to her again. Then I saw it a couple days later on Facebook. And the crazy thing at this point was I was asking God to like do something. I'm like, please give my husband a raise. Like, please give me money. Like, what do I do with my life? Because I hate nursing school. I don't want to be a nurse. I'm just so miserable. I'm stressed out. I'm crying. And so this just kept coming up. And so on Facebook, I entered another raffle. I won it. I tried it. It worked. I was excited. The girl's like, hey girl, so are we going to go ahead and get you started as a customer? And I'm like, no, I don't have money. So like, I can't do that. And then she's like, well, what about the business? I feel like you do well at this. And I'm like, yeah, girl, not going to happen. And every single day for a solid week, she's messaging me about it. She's like, you got to do this with me. You got to do this with me. You'd be so good. And it was so, at the time, like people asked me, like, was that annoying? I'm like, dude, no, it was not annoying. It was like really nice to have a friend, because at that point in my life, I had no friends. Everybody ditched me because I'm the teen mom here. I have no friends. People made fun of me. They're talking trash about me all the time. And, I'm just going to say one thing that was so pivotal in my life that just like, and I'm very red and a lot of things don't get to me, but one thing that did get to me and it sticks with me is that, and this is what makes me so like aware of what I say, but my sister is 3 years younger than me, and somebody literally said to her, or said in the bathroom, didn't know she was in the stall, did you hear about that Katie Weatherstein girl, is my maiden name? She's pregnant. Wow, how sad is that? And my sister almost killed her. But it was one of those things where it's like that, those are what the things people said about me. I had no friends, literally, like 200 followers on Instagram. And so I was like, that's why I put it off too, because I'm like, I don't have anybody to talk to. I don't have any friends. Like, who's going to buy from me? And so when she kept talking to me and believing me, I'm like, okay, well, then maybe I should, like, I don't know what she sees in me, but like, maybe this is it. Because God is like, I'm asking him for a solution, and like maybe this is what he's trying to say, because the work just kept coming up. So I got started. I was slow. My first 30 days, my 30th day, I got my 4th loyal customer. That was my first stranger loyal customer. At that point, that was what instilled a little bit of belief in me. Like, okay, I got one, I can get one more. And then I started kind of going from there. I got to an event, and this is where my life changed. It was just a triad event back then, one team, one mission. And I went to it, and I saw an Ambassador Diamond on stage talking about $30,000 a month. And the whole time after she said that, all I was thinking of was like, dude, $30,000 a month, like that would change my entire world. Like I'm just thinking like what we would do if we had $30,000 like a month. I'm like, wow, the car payments, like there would be none of those. There would be no, like everything. I'm just thinking about all those things. And then one time I told my husband, like, we're going Ambassador Diamond. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to go Ambassador Diamond because they said that you can do it, and I'm just going to go do it. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then I just started promoting. So I went Ruby, and then I went Emerald. And then a couple months later, I went to conference, which is like, I said this on another thing the other day. I was like, that to me was the weirdest thing ever, because I don't understand powwows. Like, I'm like, why are we all gathering together in Florida? And like, I don't get this thing. Like, nobody tells you about like events, like at least in my family, you don't talk about things like this. Like, I didn't even know this is why people went to events like this. Like, why is everybody all hype about it? And I went there anyways because I heard Jade Hooper talking about it, and I would do practically anything Jade said because my enroller quit. So like right after I started, she quit. So I was pretty much like out here just winging it. And so I'm like, all right, if Jade says to do it, I'm just gonna do it. So I went to conference, and at that moment, that's when God spoke to me very clearly. And I was like between nursing school or it works, because I honestly had it up to my eyes with nursing school. I didn't want to do it, hated it, but I loved it work so much, and I wanted to put more into it work. So I'm like, school or it works. And of course, everybody else is like, school, you idiot. Like, this is where you're gonna make, this is a guaranteed job. This is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, God, so tell me what you want to do. And I came to conference expecting that he was going to show up for me and tell me what I needed. And so it was the very last day, like one of the very last speakers, and Ashley Sinclair stood up on stage, and she was like, God is telling me, I don't even know where this came from, but God is telling me to tell somebody out there, like, this is where you're meant to be, and you've been praying about it. And so he just wants you to know, like, this is the path you're supposed to be on. And I just went home and I quit school. I was like, you know what, this is not what I wanted to do. And so I put full force in. I went from a $600 Emerald check that last month to a $6,000 double diamond check in the next 60 days. And then we're like, all right, we're going full force. Went triple diamond just shy of a year later, and then presidential diamond, and then ambassador diamond right after that. And it was so crazy. But you guys, like, we've been able to do so many things. Zach hasn't worked in almost 3 years. He's been home with our kids. We've been able to have a second kid. We moved from Charlotte, where we were not happy, to Georgia. We just moved here. We've been here for a year now. We bought our dream home. We've been able to do so many things, like take my daughters on trips, and we homeschool our oldest, just because I've always been so passionate about like hands-on learning and being able to show her the world through like her actual eyes and not just through a textbook. And so we've been able to do that. We have trips and we go on and we do a lot of hands-on stuff, but it's such a blessing to be home with my girls and have my husband be home to experience that, because he had to miss my first daughter's like entire first like 2 years.
That is so awesome that that's how it happened. Like it is crazy, because I think like, and I wrote it in the comments, because you said you went to conference expecting for God to speak to you. And this is something that I'll say to you, and I've talked to my leaders about this too, but you have to go, if you guys are going to conference this year, what are you expecting to get out of it? Because whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. You're going to find it one way or the other. Doesn't mean you're going to find the one way you thought it's going to be. You're going to find what you're looking for. But if you have no clue what you're looking for, you're like, I'm just going to go, like, that's the worst attitude you can have.
Yeah.
That's the worst attitude you can have, because you need to know specifically and clearly what you're looking for. Are you looking for tips for enrollment? And you can be looking for more than one thing, but when you know what you're looking for, you'll find it. You'll find it. And so I love that you said you went to conference expecting for God to talk to you, because so many people are like, well, God will just talk to me when he wants. No, like, I expect God to talk to me here. Like, he'll show up. He'll show up. And so I think that that's so key. So what do you think, for you, which promotion was the toughest? So I just love people to be super transparent, and like, we can sit here and we can talk about like all these amazing tips, right? About like X, Y, and Z, which we'll get to in a second. But like, I want to talk about some mental battles that like you had to overcome, like some frustrations and some things that you were like, yeah, this set me back when that happened.
Yeah, so that's so clear for me. Going from triple to pres, that was the hardest thing for me ever in all times. And that's because, you guys, when you go from like literally about to apply for government assistance because you can't even afford to feed yourself, and then you're now making $10,000 a month, it's just like, it's a game changer. And I was so comfortable. We were making really more than 10,000. We were above average triples and just living life. My husband was home full time. We were in a house that felt comfortable. And it wasn't until I was thinking about a second child that I'm like, we cannot continue life like this. Like, I need a little bit bigger house. I need, a better car, SUV. Like, you can't just drive a car when you have 2 kids. You need an SUV. And so I'm thinking about the other things, and I'm like, I want to pay off debt. I want to be able to do all these other things. And so my biggest problem was getting so complacent with where I was at that I didn't even realize that that's why my team wasn't moving. It's because I wasn't setting that vision. I wasn't dreaming bigger. I was just so okay with living how I was living, because that was great money for me at the time. And so I had to really dig deep. And this is where I want you guys to really listen, because this is key. I sat at Triple Diamond for a year, almost a year and a half, which is so embarrassing for me. And then I'm like, okay, so I got to the point, I had my second baby in July of 2018. And then I went through severe postpartum stuff, like depression, postpartum anxiety. It was the hardest time of my life. But I wanted to go presidential before I had the baby. And then I got mad at my team because they weren't like doing exactly what I wanted them to do at that very time. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm not doing it before the baby. So I had the baby. And then I got so angry. I was like, I'm just going to start journaling. I'm just going to figure this out, because like, I am so tired. And I had all these bad thoughts. Am I a one-hit wonder? Will I ever be more than a triple diamond? Will I ever make top 150? Will I ever be able to, go ambassador and lead a massive team? And all of these things kept going through my head. And I'm like, I'm just going to journal it out and see what God has to say about this, because I really need some clarity. And so I started journaling it out. And next thing you know, you guys, from my first journal entry was like I think it was like July 18th. Yeah, it was like 15 days after I had my baby. So this is like dedication. Like, I literally popped out a kid and I'm like, all right, 1 second, I'm going to go presidential. So I'm writing it down. I'm angry. And I'm like, just writing it out. What is my life going to be like as a presidential diamond? I'm like, this is what it's going to be like. And I'm going to be top of 50. And I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. And next thing you know, you guys, literally a month and a half later, I'm a presidential diamond. And it was the craziest thing, but it was literally not my team. It was my mental block that was stopping me from enrolling the people and doing the things. Once I fixed my mind, next thing you know, all these people are pouring in. All 100,000 in volume comes in a month and a half, just from me changing my mindset.
Do you think that journaling was like the number one thing for
Oh
you?
yeah.
What specifically do you journal about?
So I journal, like my journaling then was a little bit different than it is now. Then it was out of pure, like, I am very red and I do not like ever express anything ever. And so I started expressing every single bit of like anger I had, every single bit of like everything. And then once that got out, I was like, all right,
So
this
at
is what
first
it's
it was like a diary.
Yes, first it was like a diary. I'm like, I'm so mad. My whole life is falling apart. I want to go press. What's wrong with me? And then it's like, oh my gosh, so now I'm a presidential diamond, and this is what it feels like to be announced on stage as presidential diamond. And so it was all about, it was just all about the like what it was gonna be like once I got through like the emotion part. And then it just kept talking about this is what my team's doing. Like we're mass enrolling. We have more people coming in than ever. It's so crazy because people are chasing me down to sign up. People are wanting these products and big, big BD orders are coming in. Everybody's buying exactly what I recommended them and just signing so easily. And it just started happening, like thing after thing, exactly what I wrote on that paper. And that's when I actually discovered one of the most powerful Bible verses is Mark 11:24. And it says that if you, oh my gosh, I just had a brain fart. If you believe that you've received it, it will be yours. I'll tell you guys the exact one. I'm a mom of two. I don't remember anything. One second. I tell you that you can pray for anything, and if you believe that you received it, it'll be yours. It's the most crucial verse in our business. I have to, like, it's like I repeat it all the time.
I love that. So I want to talk about this for a second because I think it sounds good journaling. And we can journal like all the stuff and be like, I'm a mass enroller, but like when we're journaling it, like we don't really believe it.
Yep.
Right? We're just journaling it because that's what we're supposed to be doing and that's what we want, but we don't really believe it. What tip would you give for somebody who needs to bridge that gap? Who needs to like because I feel like at first you don't really believe it. And then like it's just a repetition and you're like, well, that's the way I'm thinking, so that's the way I'm going to do it. What would a mass enroller do? And so thinking about that, what's a tip that you would give somebody who's struggling with like, I've done that, it doesn't work, and they've tried it like 3 times?
Okay, so journaling is something you do every single day, and it literally I'm glad I said this verse now, because this verse literally says, I tell you that you can pray for anything. So you can ask for whatever you want, but if you don't believe it, you're not going to get it. So like God's saying, do you trust me? If you don't trust what God's going to do, then he's not going to give it to you. So you're like, I want to go diamond and I want a big team. I want all these people, but God's like, do you really believe that I'm going to give you that? And do you believe that, you're capable of that? And if you're like, honestly, no, then he's not going to do it. And then you have to do some pre-work before you start going for the big things and start asking God, like thinking, getting deep within, like, why are you wanting these things? Because it just like, everybody wants a fancy car. Everybody wants a big house. Everybody wants nice clothes. Everybody wants a Louis Vuitton, right? So it's like you have to be connected to something so deeply that like you will do anything to go get it. Whether that's, paying off something that like keeps you up at night, whether that's taking your kids on a trip or whatever. You have to be like, think about something and like, I want this, and then determine, what am I going to have to do to get this? I'm going to start asking God for clarity if you don't know, and then start praying about, him to tell you, like him to give you that belief in yourself, and him to guide you along that way, because that's really the only gap. You have to believe in yourself, and it's something you've got to train yourself to do and ask God for help, because it's possible, and it can just switch. Like for me, going through postpartum crap, like it was like one of the hardest things done at the same time. I'm like, God's the only reason that I got through that, and I was able to conquer presidential while going through that, because at the time I'm sitting here questioning, am I even meant to be here anymore? And then he's like, yeah, you are, dude. So why don't you pay attention, do exactly what I said, believe that I'm going to do it, and watch me do my thing. And next thing you know, it's presidential. So.
Yeah, I love that. And I think too, for all of you guys that are struggling with that, and it's like, I've done it and I don't know how to build my belief. The thing is you start small. Okay. And for me, what I had to do during these times is I just showed up as my higher self. And that's just a really fancy way of saying, what does a person who is ambassador do? Not that you want to be that person, but what do ambassadors do, right? If you want to be a diamond, like what does a diamond do every day? If you want to be a triple diamond, what does a triple diamond do every day? One of the most powerful things somebody said to me one time was, they're like, what's your end goal? Like, what's your goal? Like, what's your big goal? And I was like, ambassador. And I think I was like a triple. And I was same thing. I sat at triple for 18 months. And they said, well, are you prepared for ambassador team? And I was like, nope. like I wasn't doing Zooms like an ambassador would do Zooms. I wasn't hosting, like calling and giving out charts with like for my leaders so that they can get out charts. Like I wasn't doing like the next level things. I was doing the bare minimum. Right. And if you do the bare minimum, you're going to get those bare minimum results. And of course your belief isn't going to be there, because then you know that you just scraped by.
Yep.
And those big dreams don't come by you just scraping by. They come by you doing more, right? But you're just doing a little bit more. And I think so my biggest advice to somebody too, like she said, you have to believe it, number one, but show up as that person. Show up, like take yourself out of the equation, because we get so caught up in like ourselves, like, oh, I'm not this and I'm not this. Stop talking about the person you are now. God isn't concerned with the person you are now. He's talking to you in your higher self. He's talking to you in the version that can be Ambassador Diamond. So just make those little changes. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, then wake up 30 minutes earlier, then wake up 45. What does an Ambassador Diamond do? Whatever that goal is for you that feels unreachable, start showing up as what that person would show up as. And your belief will start to rise, because you'll start seeing the clues, right? Your brain is super smart, like, and you can control those thoughts. And last thing I'll add to this, because this was so good. Steve Harvey was talking about how your brain, when every day you wake up, you're the boss of it. But like, is your brain saying like, today's going to be a bad day? Because all the factory workers in your brain are going to start finding evidence for why today is going to be a bad day if that's what you say. If you start saying like, I'm not good enough to be an ambassador, I'm not good enough to be a presidential, I'm not good enough to be a diamond, your brain is going to find evidence for why you're not good enough to have that. But if you start saying, I am going to be ambassador, I don't know when, how, whatever the hell that's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen, your brain will start finding evidence for it. And that's why it's so powerful. It's like, you are the factory, you are the owner of the factory up here, and you have to tell the workers in here what to do. Okay, so Katie, next question. What would be your biggest tip for somebody who feels like, I'm doing the things, I'm doing the tasks, but I'm not enrolling?
So my first question is honestly, like, are you really doing the tasks? Like really, like for real, showing up day in, day out, every single day, you do the list every day, and you're 100% not enrolling? Then my next question is going to be, where do you feel your biggest downfall is going to be? Because it could be, it could honestly be just where like you don't lack belief and you're just posting because you're supposed to. So you're like, oh yeah, I'm posting. And like really your post, you're like, I don't really know what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna throw it up and pray for the best. And like nothing happens. You're like, well, look at that, nothing happened again. And then it really goes back to your mindset. Like, where is it at? Because the thing is, I don't make a post when I'm not feeling inspired. Like if I'm like sitting there trying to force out something, I'm like, I am not putting that up, because it's not going to get me anywhere. And I don't want anybody to feel like, well, that was weird. Like you could just tell when I'm not myself. So I show up like when I'm excited, even if that's like a chaotic moment through the day. Like sometimes I just get really inspired while I'm making lunch with the kids. So I'm like, one second, like hold on while I'm making your grilled cheese. Let me just write this really quick. I write up the post and I make the post in that moment, because that's when I feel excited and inspired. You do that. And a lot of times, honestly, it's like in the beginning of my day, because like after 3 p.m., everything is just chaos. So it's just in the morning, I'm feeling good, I'm getting ready, and I do the post. Or same thing whenever I'm messaging. I do a lot of my messaging in the morning because I like to feel like I'm in control. So if you're doing the things, I want to ask you, like everything on that list, you're messaging, you're asking, you're posting is inspired posting, it's excited, you're happy, you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then are you praying over your business? Are you doing the self-development behind the scenes? And are you waking up every day with a grateful heart? You're grateful for what you already have, but you're like, I'm ready for more, and I believe that I'm going to have it, and you're working for that. Because a lot of times, like that's really just the pieces of the puzzles go in together perfectly. And if you could just be missing like a little piece, and that's the only thing that has to switch over for you to start enrolling.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like 2 millimeters from greatness, as Tony Robbins says. Like you literally could be 2 millimeters from like just that small change in your business. And you guys, it goes the same thing. People think, I was talking to one of my new girls and I said, she's asking me questions and I said, you know what to say. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Right. Like, and I think we get so caught up in using the scripts and using these things. And it's like, trust yourself and be yourself, because that is your superpower. That's what's going to help you sign distributors. So when you first got started, what tips would you have for somebody who's struggling for messaging?
Just do it. Like, just start. Because you guys, like, I realized this, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I'm like, you know what I like haven't done in a while? And I'm like, what? Because somebody asked me, like, so what did you do from like going from nothing to like a mass enroller? Because I was one of those people who was like a nobody. I didn't enroll anybody, and next thing you know, like, I'm coming in hot. Like, I had people that were like, who is this chick? And I'm like, over here, like, what? I've enrolled 15 distributors, and I'm like an executive. So basically, you guys, what I did was I started asking everyone. So like, if you like my post, if you're interacting, I'm just like, hey girl, thank you so much for all the interaction on my page. Like, I just appreciate your support so much. Have you ever thought about what I do? And I don't even say, like, you guys, my team, I tell them, like, yo, I don't even have scripts as an ambassador diamond. I honestly don't. I type them up and send them. And that's just like, it's not the same wording every time, but it fits that person I'm talking to. So I just start asking, because the girl who enrolled me just asked me. Like, she didn't even say anything special. It's just like, why don't you do this with me? Like, that's not professional. It's not like some fancy schmancy thing. And so I just started asking everybody who liked my post. And you guys, I didn't have a lot of likes at the time. So those of you guys that are already like, meh, I only get 5 likes as the same 5 people, then grow your market and start interacting more so you get more likes and you can build more relationships with people. The best thing that I do for my business is literally interact and just talk to everybody on my feed. Like, you would think I was a blue on Instagram, like, right away because of all the interacting that I do, but it just brings people right in. They feel comfortable with me because I don't feel pressured to show up as somebody that I'm not. Like, I'm on my Instagram like this, like, no makeup, my hair is a mess, my kids are crazy, but I'm showing them who I am. And so when I message them, they feel connected to me. Like, they can talk to me, like, it's not weird. So I just start messaging with simple things. Like, I was on a Zoom with Tiff her the other day, and she said, like, all she messages is literally like, hey girl, I was just wondering, like, could you use some extra income? Like, that's what us ambassador diamonds do. So like, what I do and what you do is exactly the same, but the reason that I got to ambassador is because I just did a lot of it. And so you just have to start messaging, put one foot in front of the other, start off with 5 messages, and then do 10, and then do 15, and then do 1,000,000, and you'll go ambassador.
So true. It's so true. And I do think that, like, sometimes, like, when people, when people say they're in a rut, a lot of times they're just doing less and they don't realize it. Like, I know every single time I've been in a rut, I've just been doing less. It has nothing to do with like what I'm doing is not working. I've just been doing less because it felt more inconvenient. In the summer, you guys, our kids go to bed at like 8 o'clock when it's the winter time. But when the summer, if you have kids, it stays out light. And if you don't have kids, you're at the bar later. Okay. So it's like, here's the thing is it feels more inconvenient. It feels like you're doing the same amount, but when you really count up what you're doing, I promise you, anytime you're in a rut, you're doing less. It's not, the results haven't changed. It's really a numbers game. And it's just a matter of you figuring out what your ratio is, and the ratio of how many people you talk to versus how many people you convert, right? How many people you sign from how many people you talk to is going to get better the more you do it. And you'll have to find your groove, but this business individually is about momentum. Because we all know that when you sign 1, you sign 4, right? It's not like you ever just isolated sign 1. It's like, oh, I signed 1. Oh, I signed another one. Oh, I signed another one. Oh, I signed another one. And then you have a couple of days of not signing and you're like, I'm in a rut. And then it's like 2 weeks before you sign 1. But you have to keep that momentum, and that just comes with discipline. What tip would you give somebody if they came to you and were like, I just feel like I'm in a rut. Like, I know how to do it. Like, I just feel like I'm in a rut.
I would first ask you, what book are you reading? Because that's the number one thing. Like, you have to listen to a book every day. Like, I do not read books like in my hand. I don't do that. I have to have it in my ear because that's just the way my body functions. So I listen to it like whenever I'm like in the shower, when I'm getting ready, when I'm working out. And so I have that constantly plugged in. So my question is, what are you reading? And maybe that's not the book you need to read today. Like, maybe that's going to be for like a few weeks from now. You guys can always stop a book and restart it. and pick up where you left off, but like you just need to be hearing like what you need to hear right now. And so then I say, okay, so you're reading a good book. That's great. Now, why do you feel like you're in this rut? And a lot of times this stems back to, well, my kids, they were sick, and like then I just started taking care of them, and then like I don't know, me and my husband got into it a little bit because he felt like I wasn't doing enough or whatever. And then you're just like, well, that's what kind of started it. And I'm like, okay, so what's stopping you from starting again? Because that's all it takes to start one foot in front of the other. So now we're going to start off tonight. Now you're in a rut right now. We're going to start off tonight by making a good inspired post. What are you doing this month? Let's talk about that. That's you're going to claim the goal for the rest of this month. I'm going to be going Ruby. I'm going to be locking out. I'm going to increase my paycheck by $200, whatever it is. So I'm going to do that. And then you're going to start that messaging. Before you go to bed tonight, you're going to ask people to host posts. When you wake up, you've got messages coming in. So you immediately start taking action, because talk does nothing. So if you just start with one foot in front of the other with one task of getting all your, like asking, sending out 15 messages before bed about host posts. And then you're going to send out 10 messages for people asking to do the business. So when you wake up in the morning, you're immediately going to have messages. And how good does it feel to wake up and be like, damn, my inbox is full. Like, I'm excited. It sucks waking up when you have 0 people in your inbox. So wake up with a full inbox, and then you're just, like for me, that cures the rut. Like, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. So what does your day look like?
So, okay, I am super, I'm 50 red, 50 green, okay? And so my life is very scheduled. And so when I wake up in the morning, I get up before my kids, because my kids, I love them so much, but they are just too much for me in the morning. So I have to be up before them so I can handle them once they are awake. And my husband is home, which is fabulous. But I have to be up before them. So I get up, I immediately do self-development. That's the first thing. I splash water in my face. I'm doing self-development. I work out. And then shortly after that, I get some work done. I do some journaling, and then they're awake. But I really don't talk to my kids, because my husband takes care of them in the morning. Even if at any point they're awake before my ritual's done, he handles it. And then at that point, we just immediately get started on my work. Most of my work is done by 11:30. Even with kids, at 9:30 we're having breakfast together, we're doing whatever. But by 11:30 my entire day is done. And then I just react through the day. So I'm responding through messages and things like that. But I truly believe, in order for me to feel very accomplished and just good about myself, I have to have it done in the morning, because I'm wow, I already signed a loyal customer, it's before noon. Or wow, I already signed a distributor before noon. And then I have all these messages coming in throughout the day, and I'm wow, look at me doing my thing. I'm being a mom, I'm homeschooling, and I got people coming in all throughout the day. So I get everything done. My self-development gets my mood set. My affirmations, all that kind of good stuff happens before. So I'm already excited, I'm happy, I'm motivated. And then I'm signing people up. I'm getting all my work done. I power hour with my team in the morning at 9 a.m. So it's just, there's so much stuff going on in the morning that I just feel so good, and I get everything done. And that could be different for you guys too. If you guys work or whatever, wake up 30 minutes early, get most of your checklist done, and then do the rest in your lunch break. So when you come home from work, you have time with your kids, and you're not oh my God, I gotta do this whole thing before I go to bed. You have to find what works for you. But for me, everything being done for in the morning before noon just makes me feel like I am just a boss.
I love that. So what does that look like? So obviously just your 6 list, how many messages do you send out? All that stuff. What are your numbers?
Okay, so I just told you guys I'm green, but I don't really count. I send out a lot of messages for host to post. Basically my rule is, if my inbox isn't to the point where it almost gives me anxiety, I do not have out enough. So host to post for me, I'm doing it until I have a lot of messages. For sending messages about the business, that's kind of the same thing. I do the only thing I do on Facebook really is host to post, to be honest with you. Instagram's everything else. So on my Instagram, I'll send out messages until I get at least 15 to 20 responses. So if my inbox doesn't say between 15 and 20, I need to do more. And so I'm just constantly talking, and I talk to people throughout the day, building relationships. I message at least 25 people for messages, for relationships a day. And then that's just go on their stories, watch them, and then respond and talk. So just as if you were a regular person, nothing at work's related, we're just building a friendship. At least 25. And then commenting at least 50. I do count those 2 things, because my interaction is what's going to have my views up. So then I do that. And then like I said, for as business, I just need 15 to 20 people talking to me in my inbox 24/7 about the business.
Your host of posts, are they all LCs or are they DTs too?
I honestly only do loyal customers, because my Instagram, I go ham for DTs on there.
So when you message on Instagram, you're messaging for DTs?
Yes, I honestly have never messaged for loyal customers on Instagram. I do a lot of polls. My polls for me are really effective. And I'm really good at painting a picture of my story. So I attract a lot of people on Instagram.
Yeah. And you guys, I want you to hear that like she's not a unicorn, but what she's doing, there's science behind it, right? Like it's not like she's just like one of those lucky people who's like stories get a ton of views and like people vote on her post. Like she just told you how she gets a lot of views. She's interacting with the followers that she does have, right? Like so many people try to play this comparison game, and I was guilty of it too when I first started, of like, well, this person has like 16,000 followers and I only have like 800. Okay, are you even taking care of the 800 that you have? Are you even interacting with the 800 that you have? Because I know people who have less than 1,000 who get like, who have less than 1,000 followers who literally get like 500 or 600 views on their stories. So in the meantime, you can take care of the followers that you do have while you're building your following. It can work simultaneously. So please don't use that as an excuse, because she's not a unicorn. Like she didn't just come up with this. Like she didn't all of a sudden open her Instagram and God just blessed her abundantly because with all these people who just love her. Like no, like she built the relationship with the work that she put in to the following. And like you really have to look at the people who are following you as a community. Like why Rachel Hollis is so successful. She interacts with the people in her community. Like she built a community of people who follow her. Okay, it's the same thing. Why are people following you? Do they feel like they know you? Is it a community? Do they know the names of your kids? Do they know? Like that's what it has to feel like. And once that happens, then people will start to come to you and be attracted to you because you've made yourself real. But until then, you can't just expect that all these people are gonna be blowing up your inbox. It's just not realistic. Okay, so how does that typical DT combo go for you?
So you guys, this blows my team's mind. Like I'm gonna be honest, you guys. Like from talking to you to close, it's like maybe 7 messages, maybe if they got a question or two. So I handle business. I tell them what's up, and then we get to signing. The thing is, when you go into a DT combo, you are not allowed to be not confident, okay? Because let me just tell you something. If I can get to Ambassador Diamond, so can you. And so this business is legit. We make a lot of money here. We've got great products. We got great teams. And so when you're talking to people, you immediately just know they're going to sign up. You're expectant. They're going to sign up. Why would they not sign up with me? I'm awesome, right? So I'm like, okay, great. So I tell them what I do. And you guys, like, I'm just going to put this in the chat because it's a text replacement, okay? This is what I say. And then after that, I immediately send a second message. And it's literally just like, does that sound like something you could do? And they always say yes. And I'm like, oh my God, awesome. So, and then I usually just say like, how much are you looking to make a month? They usually say like, oh, I'm looking to make like 200 to 500 would be great. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And then I'm like, okay, so tell me a little bit about you. Like, what do you have going on? Do you work? And they're like, usually they'll say like, yes, I do work. And it's just like really hard. I'm not making enough money. Or no, I don't work. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I want to bring in extra money. I'm like, okay, great. No big deal. We could totally make that happen. So listen, this is how it works. So basically to get started, it's so simple. Always say this is so simple to get started. All you have to do is purchase your rights to sell. It's crazy. Right now, it's only $99 to get started. When we have a promo, that's just like, okay, cool. You just threw a little bit of icing on the cake, but it's just like $99. I'm sold for that 100 times over. So it's only $99 to get started right now. And I can immediately start teaching you exactly what you have to do to start bringing in the money so we can start working on the extra $200 a month right away. And my goal is to help you get there in the next 30 to 60 days. How does that sound? Are you ready to get started? And most of the time they say yes, or they'll be like, I really want to get started today, but I have to wait till I get paid. And let me stop you here, okay? Because a lot of people get discouraged and they say, I can't do it today. Did you sign up the first time you talked to the person you talked to? 9 times out of 10, it's a no, okay? We need 7 to 21 times to check that out and see if we really want to do it, if we're really serious, maybe follow up, maybe see it on social, whatever, 7 to 21 times. So even if they're like, yeah, I get paid on Friday, guess what? I still need a distributor next Friday just as bad as I do today. And so I'm like, okay, great. Is next Friday at 12 okay? You're in control of the conversation, so you tell them, next Friday is 12 okay? They're like, yes. Okay, perfect. I have you down for 12. Just let me know in the meantime if anything changes. So in the meantime, you still interact, you still engage, you're still present with them. If they post a story, like when they tell me they're interested, I make their story go and see first. If we have an appointment and it's or like a notification, so I'm always on their story, like I heart it, or I'm like talking to them. So I'm still in their face, like they're like, hey, yeah, it's Katie again. Yeah, it's me. So I'm still showing up so they know who I am. Like they don't forget about me. They're still excited because that excitement from now till next Friday is going to wear off. Okay. So you have to keep it hype and they're going to sign up with you next Friday. But I'm always, do not over talk. Just keep it simple, to the point. If they ask questions, answer their questions and engage with them, but also don't add extra stuff. You just answer what they ask.
I love that. If that is helping you, put like a 1 in the comments, because that is just like, I hope that is blowing your guys' mind, because I think that so often we overthink it and we think that we have to be this like, oh, we have to be this mass enroller to enroll people. And like you said, we go into the conversation thinking, oh, they're just going to blow me off. They're going to tell me they don't have money every single time. And it's like, we're not walking into that conversation with just that spirit of like, they're going to sign up. Like, it's only $99. And do you have the text for like the rights to the business? Do you have that as a text replacement, or you just voice memo that?
I text it. I literally just say, I can send you, I have to copy and paste one from Instagram. I'll just send it to you. I literally type everything up every time, just because I like make it, whatever I'm getting their vibe as, like maybe if I feel like they're a little bit more like, you know, they need a little bit more, maybe they're a little green or a little yellow, like I try to like word a little things a little differently, but it's pretty much the exact same thing every time.
I love that. It's like, and like saying that you just have to purchase the rights to like the bid to what did you say? Purchase the rights to.
All you have to do is purchase your rights to sell, and I forgot to say,
the rights to sell.
You also get an amazing welcome kit in the mail in a week, but we don't wait for that. We immediately get started on teaching you exactly how to make money. So the welcome kit is like, oh my gosh, they're gonna welcome me right in with the kit. It's so great. Yeah.
I love that. So then they're not like waiting when they first get started. That's so good. Okay, biggest tips for loyal customers.
Oh my gosh, be a product of the product, you guys. Dead serious. Okay, so I can't have caffeine. Ever since I had my second baby, like I don't know why. My body just can't handle it. So I was so depressed because I had to give up the coffee. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find something that's gonna do something for this body because I need it. And so I personally use the celery, the BFF, and I use carb control right now and hydrate. Well, I use like a lot. Anything that doesn't have caffeine, I pretty much use it. But for like weight loss transformation, you guys, this is so key because I made a serious dedication to myself to use the products and get healthy, not just lose weight, but like get fit. Like I actually want to be like, you look at my arms, you're like, wow, she has muscles, that kind of a fit. And so I started using the products consistently and showing my results. And I have gotten so many loyal customers, and literally not just off like obviously off of Host to Post, but just off of my posts. Like I'm just literally like, oh yeah, I'm drinking my celery, and people are like, oh my God, where do I get it? I need it. And I'm just showing exactly what I look like in my transformation, because my 2-week transformation blew my own eyes. Okay. I was just like, whoa, this is just nuts. Can't believe that this has happened. But using the product gets me excited because I'm like, this actually works. And I could just ramble on about forever about why I love celery so stinking much. No, I could not believe I'm even saying that, but like, it's the best thing ever. And I get excited about it. People see my results and they believe me and they're like passionate about the celery. Like my customers are like, oh my gosh, this stuff is so good. And they're excited and they're referring me people because they're having good results. And so that's tip number 1 is use the product consistently and hold yourself accountable to that. Because you want to be like, it's really easy to get into the game of I'm busy, I'm not going to meal prep. I'm busy, so this is going to happen. If you stick to a journey, whether it's getting fit or weight loss or skincare or whatever, you commit to that every single day and you get those results, you're not signing 50, 30 BB little loyal customers. You're signing lots of big BBs. Like I take 100 BB customers over little 30 ones all day long. And so, yeah, some people are going to be like, oh, I can't afford that. I'm like, okay, great, join the business. But the people who are the ones who are going to buy the pack, they buy the pack. So I'd rather have 20, 100 BBs than, 50, 30 BBs any day because it's just easier for me to take care of. So use the product, do your Host to Post. If your inbox is not on fire, you do more. Host to Post works, okay? And some people, like, guys, like I still get Host to Post, I get no comments, not even a like. And then I get a Host to Post that literally the other day I had 60 something comments. I'm like, wow, okay, what a blessing that is to come back to. So Host to Post, and stop switching your Host to Post every 4 seconds, being so confused. Like It must be the algorithm. It must be that this doesn't work anymore. No, you guys, I use the same host post today as I used like 7 months ago. I'm still using the same exact one. I'm still signing a lot of loyal customers off of it. And my team still signing I have a girl on my team who literally enrolled like 80 loyal customers last month off the same exact host post. So stop being so concerned about all the logistics. Like it might be the algorithm, it might be this, it might be that. No, you just have to get more people to do it. And like more people, like different people's Facebook will just pop off in different ways. So do the host post. And then also like do polls on your stories, like all the time, do the polls. I like to alternate. Like if I talk about the business on my story, I'm not talking about the products, but I'm like business and then my whole life, like a personal bunch of stories. And then the next day it's like products all over my stories. But every day you'll see me using my products. Never skip a day, never. The day that you think you're gonna skip a day, like no one's gonna notice if I don't post about me drinking my celery today. I sign a loyal customer every time that I think I'm not gonna post it. Nah, I have to go do it. I have to post. And then I'll sign a loyal customer, just like that. So when you think no one's watching, they are, and they're planning on ordering, but like if you didn't post, you're gonna miss out on a loyal customer you didn't even know you were gonna get.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. It's so true. What hosted post do you normally use? Is it TFX one?
Yep, Thermopite X every time. It's a winner.
Every time, upsell that bad boy.
Yep, straight. And that's like you just show results and people are like, yes, I'm in, I want it all.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wrap up here, but what I guess last minute words of wisdom would you give to people, you know, basically whatever it is that you think people need to hear, but I also want to know what is something that like you wish you would have known when you first started.
So I wish that I first started, honestly, this is a mindset thing. Like that's something that I did not grow up around. This is something that's not new to me anymore, but it was something that I had to learn that like your mind controls your entire life. It's almost creepy to think about. Like if you think something bad, it just happened. It's so weird. And I even tell my husband, like, even if like the littlest thing happens, I'm like, don't talk about it. Like, don't say it, don't think it, don't. Because that's literally what controls everything. How you're gonna succeed, how your health, your family's health, your well-being, everything is just determined by the way that you think. So that's my biggest tip for that is just get your mindset under control. And how do you do that? Through praying, journaling, and just really getting used to self-development and listening to books all the time. You're never going to be the smartest person in the world. So just start reading and get more knowledge of everything. Soak everything up like a sponge all the time. Because even as an ambassador diamond, I read books and I'm like, wow, that's so good. Like, I just can't wait to share that with my team. And so you should have a goal, really, guys, like $2 a month. That's just easy peasy. Books are usually 6 hours long on Audible. So that's like 30 minutes-ish a day, if you think about it. Like, and really, I do like 2 hours a day. 1 hour like in the morning and 1 hour in the evening when I'm cleaning up the kitchen, the house, whatever. So my next thing that I feel like you guys need to hear is to stop waiting. To stop waiting on the moment to be perfect. Stop waiting. Oh, well, I gotta wait till Monday. This is a great Zoom, Katie, but Monday's a fresh start. So we're just gonna wait till next Monday and I'm gonna get it done then. And then stop waiting for, well, when I get a little bit skinnier, I could post. When my face clears up, I'm gonna post. When I get my lashes filled, I'm gonna post. Because nobody relates to that, you guys. Like, I went through a stage where I was like, oh my God, I like make good money now. I just should look good all the time. And here's the thing. How many people do you know that do that same exact thing? Like, nobody dresses good all the time. Nobody's got their makeup done 24/7. Most moms that I know literally walk outside looking like they're homeless, okay? So I like to represent myself well when I go out because, hello, that makes me feel good. And every day I do get dressed and make myself feel good for me. But then I still, at nighttime, when I don't have makeup, after my shower, I'm still on my stories. I'm still showing people what I'm like because that's what they're going to relate to. Be relatable and stop comparing yourself to other people. That's never going to get you anywhere. It's going to take you way farther back instead of projecting you forward. You can look at somebody for inspiration, but if that's not helping you get to that next level, you unfollow them, okay? And then you're going to show up every day. You're not going to wait. You're just going to start one foot in front of the other. Starting right now, as soon as you get off the Zoom, you're going to start sending out messages before you go to bed. It's late, right? Whenever I go into my room for the night, I send out an extra few messages just to top it off. And if they respond, I don't answer. It's just I'm sending a few and I'm getting off my phone and I'm going to bed. So when I wake up, I've got notifications to look at. I'm excited. And so then the next thing I want you guys to do is just really focus on confidence and believing in yourself. Until you do that, you're not going to master anything. You've got to master that belief, that confidence, that excitement, and get passionate about what you're using. Use the product. like go into the business and think, if I send one loyal customer, how does it feel when you sign a loyal customer? You're probably like, hell yeah, like you do a little happy dance. You're like, yo, baby, I just got a loyal customer. I'm so excited. I still tell Zach, I'm like, dude, I just signed 2 loyal customers and a distributor today. What is up? I am the boss, okay? And then I send another one. I want to sign more just because of that one thing that happened. I want to sign one more and one more. And I want to show my team I'm doing one more thing. Show up for your team different, because if you aren't showing up for your team as a leader, they don't respect you as a leader. They probably look at Kelsey like, oh, Kelsey's so great, right? She's an ambassador, and that's amazing. But then you have to show up as a leader to be able to go up as a leader. When I first got started, when my upline quit, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have like somebody that was like reaching down like, hey, let me take care of your team. So I'm showing up, I'm doing Zooms. We didn't have Zooms back then, but if we did, I did them, okay? I did recorded videos back in the old school days, and then I posted them on Facebook pages, but I'm showing up on videos. I'm doing power hours, and you guys, this helped people look at me as a leader. I started showing up and doing trainings, tips. I'm posting on team pages. I'm saying like, oh my gosh, this is what's working for me. Sharing those tips with your team, just posting on the team page and saying, this is what's working right now. I'm so pumped. I just signed a loyal customer. And encouraging your team to do the exact same thing, inspiring them and just sharing and believing in them. And if you are a one-man team right now, believe in yourself and believe in that future team and pray them in, because they will start to come when you do the consistent things every single day. Posting every day, working every day, being on your stories every day, and being authentic. That's what people want to see. People are going to start flocking to you, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've never had this many distributor potentials coming to me than ever before. And it's because that's what you started journaling about. So start with your belief, start doing the things, do your self-development, and you guys just get over yourself and know if I do this checklist every day and I believe myself, I'm going to go ambassador. That's the key to success here, people. That's it. That is literally it. That's all I've done to get to ambassador. It's just that consistent hard work. And some days I do have to work when my kids are sick. I have to work when things aren't great. When things happen in my family, my life, whatever, I'm still showing up because my team relies on me, and I'm the leader of the pack. And I'm like, listen, I'm still here. I'm showing up. And that's why they do the exact same thing. Constantly knowing they can rely on me. I'm like the mama bear of the tribe. I'm like, I'm always here for you no matter what. I will show up on the days that I'm tired. We were traveling, I don't even know, last week or something. I got in my house at 8:15 and was on a Zoom at 9 o'clock because my Zoom is at 9 o'clock. And I'm still showing up. Regardless of what's going on in my life, you will not see me show up, oh my gosh, I'm dying. I'm here for you, and I'm still going to show up whether I'm tired, I'm sick, or whatever. I'm here to lead you from the front and show you what can be done when you commit.
Yep. So good. It's so good. Thank you so much. Seriously, I really, really appreciate your time. Don't take it lightly. I know that everybody got so much from this. I know that I did. I learned so much. And so I appreciate you. I'm just going to close this out in prayer. And thank you again so much, Katie. So dear Jesus, your word says that I tell you, you can pray for anything, and if you believe it, it will be done. Katie shared that with us tonight, Lord, and I ask that you just increase everybody's belief in themselves, that they see themselves the way that you see them, that they start seeing themselves in a different light, and that they stop being the biggest hater of themselves. I ask that in your name, Father God, that you increase our territory, that you enlarge our territory, that you bless us beyond our wildest imaginations, and that what you are ready to bless us with, that we prepare ourselves for so that we can sustain it. It's one thing to get to a goal. It's another thing to sustain it. So Lord, let our character rise up to the level of the blessing that you want to give us, and let us be prepared for all the blessings we know that you're about to rain down upon us, and prepare our hearts, prepare our minds, prepare our souls, and let us be confident that the best is yet to come, that your work, we haven't even seen anything yet. Anything that we've lost, it will be restored, and anything that we're looking forward to will be done and will be 10x, because you are a God of abundance, and we know that through you all things are possible. Don't let us think small anymore. Don't let us play small anymore. Let us be abundant thinkers, big thinkers, and people who go out there not scared of anything, but only ready to serve you for your purpose. We ask all of this in your name. Amen. Thank you. Bye, Katie.
Bye.